screens here.
We are. Am I unmuted?
Oh, there we go. Hey, now I see you.
Okay.
We've got our tech crew, Travis and Dalton heading up the tech. They've made some changes for us, as you can see the background behind Art. A little different. We got the music rolling on their end, so we're experimenting with some new tech things here and features. So hopefully it runs smooth. So hi everybody.
Taken hostage, and this is a ransom video.
It kind of does. It actually kind of does, just a tad. You're right.
Yes. Yes. Just pay the money. Yes.
I have to say the clarity of the video is so nice, though. So nice. But we might want to think about brightening up that background. But we're good. We'll get
this. We want you to meet their demands. I have 12 hours and they're going to cut my head off. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome everybody. Let me just cover a couple things before I turn it over to Art. So if you're new to Zoom, everybody starts out muted until open time. But to make it easier on your screen, if you switch it to speaker view, it will just focus on the person speaking versus all the different screens that can be distracting. So you might already be set to gallery view. You just switch it to speaker view, and that would be helpful. It's an option there on your screen. It depends on what device you're using, but hopefully you can figure that out. Once Art starts speaking, I'll put him on spotlight, and that helps him stay on your top screen anyways. So hopefully that makes sense to you all. And just welcome everybody. Last week was great. Got a lot of great feedback last week. It was fun to do another in the spotlight. We had Dave Smith last week. But boy, I sure love it when we get back to a normal group with Art in the seat. So I'm looking forward to tonight. And that's all well, let me actually just tell everybody our next spotlight in the spotlight is coming up February 23rd is going to be our next spotlight. We're going to have Evan Haynes from Aloe Recovery, founder of Aloe Recovery down in Malibu, a good friend of Art's, and he's going to be our special speaker next. So mark your calendars for February 23rd. But between now and then, we got Art. So are you ready to take it over, Art?
Yeah, maybe.
All right. You got the whole gang there? We're used to see.
They're you want to show you guys got to put the.
That would be kind of fun to see the new space.
You can see our new setup and what we're doing here.
So they're broadcasting from the Kent Rebuild Recovery over in Kent. It's Art's childhood home. And they've turned the downstairs into a group room. So there's our tech crew right there, Dalton and Travis. Hey guys. Kaylee and Casey there. Looking good, guys. Looking good. Hey, let me put you guys on the spotlight now. There we go. Oh, we got the masks. We got Brian with the mask. Oh, we got Bradley. Hey, Matt. Hey, guys. It's looking good down there. There's Cam.
Oh, and let's show this here. We won't be having Kyle's corny comedy corner this week due to surgery that Kyle had, and so we want to. Oh,
I could probably screen share if this doesn't work. There we go. Yes, let's see it. Kyle, look at his new teeth, you guys. Woo! Yeah, look at the Wiggins. Hold on. Spotlight. There we go. There's the Wiggins. Bill is a retired dentist. Bill is our president of our board here at Battlefield Addiction, and Becky's on our board as well.
Travis and Stephanie Heisel, the link, please.
And Bill is a retired dentist, and the dentist that took over his office and they worked together. Bill helped make this happen. Dr. Cameron from Woodland Dental did some serious work for Kyle, and it's pretty amazing. So Kyle's really
Send
been
it to me,
through
and I'll send it.
a
to
lot
you.
of different. I can totally hear you, Art. Do you need me to help you with something there and sending?
Just mute me. Mute it.
Okay. But anyways, so Kyle, has extensive teeth issues, no teeth, and it's very difficult for him to eat. He's been suffering for a long time. I mean, I can't even imagine. That's like my greatest joy in life is food, and he hasn't been able to eat normal for a long, long time. And so we're so grateful for Dr. Cameron and Woodland Dental for having this amazing offer, and just gave a heck of a deal because Kyle is one of the crew here at Battlefield and Rebuild Recovery, and it's pretty amazing. So his surgery was extensive today, and that there was some bleeding, but it's so beautiful already. So he's going to have a few days of healing. So he will not be sharing his comedy tonight, but we'll see him next week with his pearly whites.
And Angie,
Yeah.
those are just the temporaries.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, it's a couple stages to have that finished, but that is just a provisional. It's going to be unbelievably nice when he's done what they've done with that case, and the prosthodontist that built those arches for him. It's going to be unbelievable when he's done in about 6 months.
Wow.
It's going to be movie star like.
That's so amazing.
And then he's out for his comedy
Yeah.
corner.
Yes. That's so amazing. Thank you for paving the way for that to happen, guys. Really, thank you. Really something that's life-changing for him. So thank you. And all right, Art, let's get you unmuted. We'll put you back on Spotlight. I
Good.
can't put multiple, I'm then discovering I cannot put multiple people on Spotlight this week from my computer. So just a heads up. But you are on Spotlight. All right.
Do the Wiggins still have their Christmas tree up? It is the 19th of January.
Did they? I didn't even notice it. Let's see.
Yeah,
Yeah, they
go
do.
back to their screen.
Let's see. Spotlight.
Point that out.
Where'd they go? Oh man. Let's see.
Yeah.
Spotlight. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes.
Why
Yeah.
not? Why not? It's COVID. Come on
Yeah.
now. Why not?
And Becky probably doesn't have time to take it down because she's doing so much grant writing.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Actually,
That's right.
it's staying up until we are free.
I see.
And we can go out without masks.
It stays up till I get Art's gift.
Yes. I'm out of money.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, Becky and Kristen have been busy with a lot of behind the scenes stuff at Battlefield. And so let me express my gratitude to both Becky and Kristen for all the work that they're doing behind the scenes. We've gotten some grants in the last couple months due to the work that they're doing. And so thank you so much. It's pretty amazing. So thanks, ladies.
Are we ready?
We are ready.
I'll try to carry the comedy for Kyle this week. I was even thinking that I would have Travis come in and do a few. Yeah. But no, you got to go back on Spotlight. I can't do it like that. We're working out some technical stuff here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easier to talk when I can see it. I can't talk when, for whatever reason.
I
don't want to look at myself.
I do have one joke.
Oh, Travis has one joke.
Okay.
You want to come in here and tell it?
Yeah, sure.
We got to carry the comedy corner. Travis is going to fill in for Kyle this week.
It's not the one you think it is.
Okay, so Travis is going to fill in for Kyle's comedy corner.
All
He's
right.
going to sit in and do the joke.
All right, Travis.
Okay, so my homeboy T didn't have a car until his girlfriend got her stimulus check. Now T-Mobile.
All right. I'm going to take some stuff, some heat for this. You know, I've gotten to the point with dieting that I sound a lot like a drug addict that keeps relapsing. and saying he's going to change. But this week we started the new diet, no sugar. Is that what my diet is? No sugar, no carbs. Is that what it is? Yeah. And what I did was at 8 p.m. on Sunday night, I said I surrendered to this treatment program, the one that I'm here and doing every day with these guys, and the accountability of it. What I figured out, I didn't know how many weight loss experts that I had in this house. And I mean, I got 9 weight loss experts here. And undoubtedly experts. They all know everything about weight loss. So it's very beneficial to me. I've turned it over to these experts. It's really scary, though, because some of them weigh more than me. My body seems to be a little easier to deal with than theirs. And then I have to hear about everything from them. But I didn't know. But there is a lot of weight loss experts in this world. And when you start talking about weight loss, there's really an argument that ensues. Doesn't it seem like that? Everybody knows about weight loss. Everyone knows what to eat. Everyone knows what you shouldn't eat. And then the worst part is the people trying to make weight loss fun. It's not. It's not fun. Nothing tastes good. Let's face it. And that's how but that's how I'm ready to live now. So I've turned it over, and there's a lot of snitches here. They will snitch me out. I don't have any enablers here. Nobody's sneaking off to Jack in the Box for me. Maybe Cam said he'll go. So anyways, I've turned it over to the accountability of the program that we created here, and we're going to see if this program works for my weight loss. And we'll see if the accountability in the group is better at my food intake than I am. We're on track so far. I haven't had a carb yet. Have I had a carb yet?
0.
What?
A couple.
What?
You had ketchup.
I had ketchup. Oh my God.
That has sugar.
I had ketchup. I dipped you gave me a hamburger patty. What am I going to do?
You're not supposed to have ketchup. It's mayonnaise. Mayonnaise and mustard is fine, but no ketchup. That was sugar and carbs.
Pound for pound sugar.
This is not good. Hot sauce. A hamburger patty.
0 of everything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Expert.
One man bigger than me just told me what I got to do. One guy in the room. Okay, Dalton. Jesus.
I'll take responsibility for the ketchup because I wasn't watching you.
Whenever we start this stuff out, we went a long ways. You guys with the vapes, we got it. Please. Yeah. We went a long ways in, I started out in treatment, and I think that the number one word that I didn't generally like to hear, and I don't know why I didn't like to hear it, but I did not like when anyone, and I can emphatically remember this, wherever I went to treatment, wherever I went, anywhere, if I heard somebody talk, whatever the scenario was, if I heard somebody talking about love, I ran. I didn't like the word. I didn't like somebody that told me they love me. I really generally didn't like the topic at all. And when somebody told me they loved me, I didn't believe them. I didn't understand what they meant. And when people began to tell me that when I started hearing it was only like, it wasn't in my own addiction that I heard love was the answer to addiction. It wasn't when I began to do sober housing. I never heard that love was the answer to addiction. I think the first time I ever heard that love was the answer to addiction was that Johan Hurry or whatever his name is that did the thing on the mice and how the mice connected and they didn't want to use drugs anymore. And that kind of came out when I was like 5 years sober. But the real unconditional love is the answer. And that thing started showing up probably about year 6 of the journey that we had. And by that time, there had been a lot of people that had gotten sober. And I think a lot of people got sober without love. And I didn't want to discuss it. I didn't understand it. I did, however, about year 7 or 6 or 7 into my sobriety, really realized that I didn't love anyone. And I was honest about that. And I could tell you that was true, that I did not love anyone. And I'm talking about my mother. I'm talking about my father. I'm talking about my sisters. I'm talking about not having, and when I say love, I'm not talking about, I didn't love them like an obligation. You know, I didn't love them like, oh, that's my family. I mean, I think people just say I love someone and that's just taken for granted that, well, I love them. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that I'll do shit for them when they ask. That means that I'll show up at the birthday party when there's a birthday party. That means that I'll, if they're sick, I'll go to the hospital and bring flowers. I think it, but I didn't understand until a little while later, deeper, what this is about. And I'm not talking about love like an obligation. I'm not talking about love like I say I love you. I'm talking about love like an experience of love. And I think that having the experience of love is something totally different than I love you. And then when I came here to this house, I'd had it over the past 2 years. I've had the experience of love. I've had moments. And when I'm talking about the experience of love, I want to say that for me to qualify for having the experience of love, tears will have to be in your eyes. So for me, it means that tears are in my eyes and I'm looking at another person and tears are in their eyes. And there's some kind of feeling that we both connect on about that. And that happened for me in the last couple of years. It's happened from time to time, but very rarely. So then we got to this house. And when we got here, we started doing these groups and we started doing this work and we started connecting with each other, everyone here. And then all of a sudden, more and more, the experience of love in this house kind of shows up. It just shows up, and it shows up for us a lot around here. It shows up in group, and it shows up mainly in group. It shows up actually only in group, a little bit outside of group, but not much. It's in group when it shows up. So I started thinking a lot about, well, first of all, love being kind of a place. I think it's more like not an obligation or nothing like that, but love is like a place that you go with someone or that you go with a group of people. So we enter or we go into a place called love. And in that place, what happens when we get there in that place called love is that there is a drinking of a truth. And it's like water. And so we get to that place called love, and then we all take a drink of this water, but the water is the truth. And so once we take a drink of that water and everybody drinks that truth, the love experience comes out. So one, you have to get to the place, and then two, you have to drink the water. And the water is the truth. Whatever that truth is, somebody telling their truth, somebody telling the truth to somebody else, us seeing somebody be the truth, seeing somebody break down and cry with humility and be truthful about it. It's whatever that truth is. And that truth has to show up in order for us to experience the love. Without the truth, there is no love. It's just people looking at each other. And so I used to say that love was this, like, people were either in love or judgment. And I believe that somewhat, but I think that there's more and more to it now. In fact, having the experience of love and then beginning to study the conditions in which it shows up. So what we're doing here is we're like trying to replicate this experience called love in our life, but there's conditions that it shows up. And there's so many people that do not understand the conditions in which love shows up in. Angie, is there somebody unmuted?
No.
Okay. So what I begin to study here or I begin to work on is how do I create these conditions in which these guys that are coming here, you know, and this has so many levels. This is the whole thing because lately here we've been studying Michael Singer's stuff, and in Singer's stuff he talks about the heart being open or the heart being closed. And so I used to think that the heart was just either open or closed, and those were the only two ways it could be. And when we say the heart is closed, what are the conditions in which the heart closes? And you talk about anger, resentment, defensiveness, a lot of fear, and in all these kind of conditions, the heart closes. Now, for sure, when the heart's closed, there is no possibility for love. It doesn't happen at all. And so then the other thing is say, well, keep your heart open. But I think that there's a third place in which your heart's not open and your heart's not closed. It's just there, and it's just unavailable. And so the first thing that we have to see is that it's not just that the work. You guys all came here. They came here to be with me, and everyone wants love. But I don't think people are ready to receive it, and I don't think people know how to get it. And so for me in my life, I can honestly tell you that I did 45 years or 44 years on this planet with never being able to receive love and never being able to give it. And that's just true. And that was because my heart was tight, my heart was closed, and I was protecting. And I never opened it up. And so if you see that the work starts with each individual here in this house, the work starts with the chance that maybe they would become available. That maybe here you would open your heart enough to let some come in. And so the first condition is an open heart. And it's to be able to sit for a second and not defend yourself and not need to worry about the future, not need to worry about the past, not need to have anger or anything like that, and just have this heart open up for long enough for it to come in. Because when you can't go to the place alone, it's a meeting of two people that have an open heart. And so this first condition that we see is like a calmness or an availability. So in this house, and I hope you guys see this because I'm explaining it to you how we get to where we get. And I want you to understand it, because throughout the day, if let's say I go in the bedroom or I'm not here, you might not be able to get there without me. And you might not be able to get there without knowing how to get there. And so the first qualification is there is calmness. Has to be. So in your life, remember these qualifications, because you're going to figure out by the time I'm done talking why you suffer from no love. And the first thing to admit that you suffer from no love is to admit that you don't have any love. You have to admit that there's no love. And when I say love, I'm talking the experience that makes you cry with another human being. I'm talking about how do you get there on a daily basis? How do you and your family not cry like sad, but cry with amazement? Cry because you looked at somebody and you love them and you know it and you feel it and you can't hold the tears back. You looked at somebody, you saw they were calm, their heart was open, your heart was open, and you both saw each other completely present, and the tears start flowing. So that's the experience I'm talking about. And we see it in this house. And so the first is calmness and availability. So that means that people have to be present. There has to be full present. So I want the people that are at home to look and see when these conditions, can you guys stay off there? Well, I want you guys to look at these conditions.
We're just trying to, sorry, Art, we're just trying to resolve some sound issues
Okay.
that they were responding to me.
Did we get it?
I think we're good.
You can just stop me.
Yeah, I'll stop you next time if it's still a problem.
Okay. So the first condition, and if you're at home and you're wondering why your family suffers, and you're wondering why you don't get along, and you're wondering why people get high, and you're wondering why you're separate, and you're wondering why you're fighting all the time, and you're wondering why you don't feel enriched in your life, or you feel bored at home, or no energy in your house, and this is just my opinion here on this. This isn't anything else. And I'm not going to give my opinion on politics or my opinion on economics or my opinion on Black Lives Matter or masks or no masks, but I will give my opinion on love. And because I'm doing a study here, and what I want to create is this experience. So the first thing is this calmness and availability that must be with everyone. And so if you're in a family and one person isn't calm and one person isn't available, that energy is sucked into that person and there is no love. So love is sucked out of the room by one person being not present, not available. So when one person's heart's closed, everyone's is, and you can see it in a room. So if you're trying to regenerate this in your family or recreate it, just go ahead. And so the next thing that has to happen is with calmness, and then there's availability. Then the next thing that has to happen is all the anger and resentments have to be out of the way. I mean, all of them. If there's an elephant in the room, if there's somebody mad at somebody and they haven't talked about it, if there's some illicit behavior going on. And I was even thinking about drug use being a disqualifier to love. And if there's drug use, then there's no way that there can be any love. But that's not true. There can be love with drug use. There just cannot be a denial of the drug use. So if somebody comes and they've been using drugs, but they're breaking down and they're humble and they say, I'm using drugs, but I can't stop. Well, then there can still be love showing up in the room. But if somebody says, I'm not using drugs when they're on drugs, then there's no love. We're all too fearful. There's too much fear in the room. So you see, the next condition then is no real anger, resentment, illicit behavior, no confrontations that need to be had. No past, no future. And so all these things, no business. Somebody can't be in the room like with impending business that they got to get to because they won't be calm enough to stay there. So they can't have some like place to go or people to see. And there can be no cell phones. There can be no cell phones with love. 100%. If you're trying to recreate your love in your family and anyone's on a phone, it is a wrap. There will be no love in your family. 100% certainty. If somebody in this house is on their phone, we all don't get to experience love. So there's no love because we're all distracted and looking at this person on their phone. And so now there's no cell phones. So now we have to get rid of we have to be calm. We have to be available. We have to get rid of all the past and future. We have to get rid of anger and we have to get rid of resentments. All this has to be free. And all these things that we have to get rid of are what opens the door so we can go to the place. See, the door ain't even open until all these things are gone. The anger between two people, the fighting, a couple over here, like fighting with each other, that takes the love. So many things. And it's almost like I was asking around, well, what is another thing that we could experience that needs to happen under the optimal conditions? And love being one of these things that needs to happen under these optimal conditions. And Travis told me that it's like a space launch. Well, you have to only launch the space shuttle under optimal conditions or, something like that. And somebody else said like maybe a guy getting lucky in a bar, only happens under optimal conditions. That one night when all the stars light up, that's kind of what love happens. The experience of love happening in a family is. It only happens under these optimal conditions. And so it has to do, and then imagine this. Imagine on the days you work. There's probably not even I would say almost if you're working every day, you don't even have the chance for love. Because by the time you get home, you can't be present. You're thinking about work. You're thinking about the business of the day. You can never get yourself to that calm place where you can open the door to another calm place with another person and just be present with them and drink some water of truth. You won't be able to do it. So now you just eliminate the work week and there'll be no love during the work week. Just won't happen. You won't get this experience because you're too busy being you. You're too busy at whatever you're up to, trying to score, trying to get something, trying to hustle, try to be whatever you're trying to be that you cannot love. But notice that you're trying to be whoever you're trying to be because you want love. Just take a look. But you don't care about it because you're too busy on your phone. Got to look at your phone. You got to go somewhere. You got to do something. And we wonder why everyone comes here. We wonder why families come to me. We wonder why things are going wrong. When is the last time your family experienced the conditions that I'm talking about? These optimal conditions where you sat around as a family and experienced this thing that we've experienced here. And here we don't experience it every day. We get pockets of it. Minor pockets of love showing up that keep you coming back like a beautiful golf swing keeps you golfing. You might hack the ball all over the golf course and suck the whole day, but you hit one good shot right down the fairway and you want to go golfing tomorrow. And that's love. Having the experience of love is what keeps you coming back. We're starving for it. We're thirsty for it, but we don't know it because nobody will admit it and everyone hates talking about it because the guy that talks about it is some kind of cuckoo, crazy guy. And anyone that talks about it is out of their skull or doing something crazy. But it's true. That's it. When do you have the experience of love? When do you and somebody go into a place that's calm enough, still enough, present enough, truthful enough to drink that truth and experience some truth together and bawl your eyes out? When do you do that? And that's what we're all after. That's what everyone was after here when they did drugs. You didn't know you were after that. You wanted your heart open. You wanted love. You wanted to feel connected. You wanted to feel other people. You wanted to be loved, liked, cared for, whatever it is that you wanted. And heroin worked. Meth can work, but it works very briefly. And so now there's some steps here. One, admit the truth that you don't love anyone. Please admit it. Admit it that you don't think about other people very caringly. Then you can at least look and see what's in the way. You can see the anger. You can see the resentment. You can see the righteousness. That's another condition. No righteousness. When we're in love in this room, nobody can be right. Impossible. And everybody's trying to be right to be loved. Everybody needs to know the answer to be the smartest person in the room. And then if they do, they somehow think they're going to be loved. But nobody loves that person because it's righteous. And so there can be no righteousness. So I can just ramble off more conditions. And I'll tell you, with each one, some door is shut to you because, some door is shut to us because we haven't cleared that door. We haven't opened it up. So to get rid of your righteousness, your anger, your resentments, to get rid of your busy day, to get rid of your cell phone, to calm down long enough to have the experience. I think we get the pseudo experience only when we're watching some movie. And so that's why we watch a movie, because it's way easier to find love in a romantic comedy. You might have an experience that makes you tear up and cry while watching a romantic comedy, but you will not have it on a day-to-day basis with the person that you say you love. You won't. Love is also not just a place, but then there's love like an action. You know, I have had some people show me some tremendous love just the last couple of days. I argue and I say stupid shit and I comment about the food, but the plates of food that I've been given, literally I can feel the love in them. I can feel people putting love and caring for me in the food that I eat. And it's beautiful. And this feeling this, it's at 47 years old, I sit here and I tell you that I want to experience more love, and it's still awkward to say. It's still not something I want to put out there publicly. I want to say I want other things, but it's still not easy just to go, hey, I want to experience this. I want to look at you when you're calm, and I want you to cry, and I want to cry. And I want us to connect that way. And I want us to be calm enough to get there. And so the practice and the employing people to get to this place, the work that they're doing here, one is calming work. You have to calm down. You want love? Please, one, admit it. Say that's what you want. Two, say you don't know how to get it and you haven't had it. Admit that. Three, calm down. Be present. Put your phone away. Open up. Work on keeping your heart open. Four, you need to go ahead and look at these things that are closing your heart. What's the anger blocking you? What's the resentments blocking you? What's the business that's blocking you? What's your obsession that's blocking you? What is your day-to-day operation of life that's blocking you from the experience love? What are you so busy fucking doing? What is it? Look at your last 3 weeks of your life. What the fuck are you doing? What are you so busy doing that made it so you haven't had this experience in 3 weeks and you're starving for it, but you don't know it? And so it's not even a wonder with COVID, with all this shit going on, that coupled with people that are already starving for connection, already starving for love, and they still can't admit it. And people just starving for, now it's just attention. Or now people used to substitute love for acclaim. They substituted love for fame. They substituted love for righteousness. They substituted love for attention. So a lot of people that got attention from their jobs and validation from their jobs and things from their job are now stuck at home. So of course they're turning to suicide and drug use and overeating and whatever it is they're turning to, because they can't even substitute love anymore. They can't even find anything that closely matches it. But the truth is that I've gotten to the place where I understand completely that love is it. And I understand completely that it's undiscussed. And people just don't seem to want to talk about it. And if you ask people if they love people, they all say yes. Then what do you mean? What do you mean you love them? When is the last time you looked at them and they looked at you and you both cried? When? So don't tell me you love them if that hasn't been the case. That's just saying it like it's an obligation. I know you'll go to the hospital if they're sick. I know. And then you'll fight. And you'll leave and you'll talk about them. And you'll say they should be like this and they should be like that. And, you know, why is this person so mean? Why are they so this? And whatever you're going to say. I didn't love my mother. That's the truth. I fought with my mother. I tried to love her. I didn't do the action of loving her. I didn't do that. I obliged my mother. I came here because it was an obligation, and I fought with my sisters about who spent more time here and why I have to do 3 days and they have to do 4 days. And how did I get mom to eat? Did you get mom to eat? Why wouldn't mom eat when you were here? And then we bickered. And you know what I wish I would have done is just lay here and rub her back and just touch my mom's back. I wish I would have just loved her. That's love. That's an action. I wish I would have just loved my mom. That's what I wish I would have done. Instead, I did everything else. And, you know, if you ain't willing to admit that you don't love, that you fight about who's right, that you fight about the division of labor in your house, that you criticize, critique, justify, defend, argue, and do everything else. And me and my mom, we did have some of those experiences where we looked at each other in the eyes and we cried. And so I had a little bit, and I was working on it already. But if you're a recovering addict or if your family's in turmoil, I would say look to one factor. And if this house was in turmoil and we're not going good, you just look to one factor. Hey, how many times do we get together and get calm and present and find a way to love each other? And that's the factor on how good the house is doing. And if we find these pockets and we get in these little pockets of these places of love, and we all sit around here and look at each other and cry, it gets us through like a couple more hours until we can do it again later. And if we don't do it, we start starving for it. And then what shows up? Anger, resentment, righteousness, disagreements, resentments, rackets, whatever we're doing to each other, criticizing, critiquing, pointing out other people's failures so that we can look better and feel better and not have to change. That's what eventually shows up if we don't get together and love. And so I didn't understand what I was getting into when I was going to do drug treatment. And I heard a lot of people tell me that it was about love, but I didn't know what love even was. And I'm starting to figure it out. And I'm not figuring it out. I mean, I'm starting to experience it. And now as I experience it, I'm truly here to tell you that I didn't experience it for 45 years. And that's, of course I was getting high. Of course. I had a heart that was unavailable, and I had a heart that was closed. Oh man, but if I got some opiates and some cocaine and got in a bar, my heart sure opened. All the anger was gone, the resentments were gone, and I could just talk to everyone and love everyone and give everyone hugs. And if I had just the right amount of beer, my heart would open. I would go love everyone at the bar and be so loving and tell everyone how much I loved them and call my mother and tell her how much I loved her. That's what I would do when I would get high. So obviously that's what I wanted. So I hope you figure out a couple of things, that you want this experience, that you haven't had it, and then there's massive work to do to get there. Because you have to figure out a way to keep your heart open. And you have to figure out a way to be present and available and calm, because these are the entryways to the place. And I've always said, recently, I've said it a lot, love is an experience, or love is a place. I think love is a place that we go to, an experience we have by drinking the water of truth. Two people seeing the truth together in a beautiful place called love. That's it. takes calmness, takes presence, takes no busy day, takes no getting out of your, you got to stop thinking about work. Can you get home and stop thinking about work long enough? Can you wake up in the morning and not think about work? Or is it just the work week's out for love, which is possible? So that's what we're learning here. And I hope I'm teaching that here. And I hope I'm teaching that you can be someone and not have to look stupid when you say you want your heart open. You don't have to, be ashamed of that. And I think that for me, I would have told you 5 years ago, this isn't the place for me if they would have started talking about love. As soon as anyone started talking about love, I said, this isn't the place for me. I want to go to the place where they talk about success and money. Let's go there. Because I don't know what you're talking about when you say love. You're freaking me out. You probably want to touch me or do something weird. So, so that's, we get a place. So can you be a leader in your family? Can you get the family calm enough? Can you work out the confrontations between people, the disagreements? Can you help the relationships so that they can both be in the room together? The whole family can be in the room together and just be calm enough and present enough? Or when the family comes together, does everybody think about the past? Does everybody think about their job? And you see, now when you see it laid out that the optimal conditions for love consist of all these things, you really see the work that a family would have to do. And it's a lot harder even to do it in a family than it is here, because we don't have that years of past together. We don't have what happened when we were 5 here. We don't have what happened when dad left mom or mom left dad. And we still struggle with just our day-to-day resentments. We can't love each other because someone left a cup in the sink yesterday. We can't love each other because somebody didn't make the right bacon. We can't love each other because somebody didn't come to group, or somebody dated somebody, or somebody did something, somebody used drugs, or somebody's lying. So you got to get all that out of the way to get to this place. And these guys that are in this room know that we've gotten to that place sometimes. And you know that if you've gotten to that place and you understand now the conditions I'm talking about and how difficult and why it's difficult for us to get there. And what happens when somebody's not having an open heart in this room, and somebody's not present here, somebody's on their phone here, how quickly that ruins the chance of love. I used to think it was just open or closed heart, but there's worried heart, there's busy heart, there's I got too much to do to love you, there's resentful heart, there's angry heart, there's all kinds of blockages, all kinds of stuff that makes this conditions impossible for love. You see 2 people just go to work and come home and want and do the business of life. They're just coming home to do the business. Put the kids to bed, hurry up, get the kids to bed, get them showered, get them put to bed so you can get to that television. That's it. Everybody just, they want love, but they can only get it on TV. They can only see human emotions on their favorite television shows. They can't get them live and in action because everybody's dead to that. Everybody just likes each other too little to, and so you turn on your favorite television show because there might be the experience of love on there. There might be something interesting going on there. I might see love. Let me go watch this. So everybody gets the business of their family done, the business of love done, or of work done, the business of raising kids done, and then they get home and we get to that place alone with the TV remote or their phone. And we wonder why people are turning to drugs and jumping off bridges. Nobody can even sit still. Nobody can do anything. Look at the TV. What are they doing on there? What are they all doing on there? Jesus. Nothing they say makes any sense. Nothing, nowhere. They ain't talking about love. So we sit here and we try to get available. And you have to do the work, each person. There's a requirement of good leadership. Leadership makes it so everyone has to show up to the place. because we can't do it alone. We're calm here. Go ahead, Ans. I don't know how.
It's question time.
Yeah, we can do that.
Bertie and Steve are first.
Okay.
They were ready. Go ahead, guys. Could we get you unmuted? And for while they're unmuting, the rest of you, just the way that you indicate that you have something to share, something to say, a question, thoughts, anything, we'd love to hear from you. There's a feature, it's the raise your hand feature, and then you'll get in line. And if you can't figure out that feature on your device, just get my attention however you need to. So go ahead, Bertie and Steve.
Sure. Hey, Art, good to have you in the chair again, always. I love what you have to share. So I get it in your house where you're starting to speak the same language. You guys are understanding that. And so when someone comes with some business or something, you probably are calm enough to ask the questions to see if you can get them to the point where they're open again. What happens when you're in a family and you're the one that is getting this and somebody else doesn't have the language or whatever? What do you suggest besides your own calmness to get to the point where you can start?
That's a great
moving
question.
Forward to love.
It's a great question, but I think it requires leadership. And anywhere we're going requires a leader to take us there. So you really see that leadership is required. And then everyone's kind of got to know the goal of where we're going. I mean, leadership without a destination, well, we're just kind of wandering around and everybody's going in separate directions. But we have to state what it is that we're all after. That's why emphatically I'm trying to tell people that they're after love. And I just recently figured that out the last couple of years, that that's what I really wanted. But before that, I don't have time to sit home with my family or anybody here because I got to go get known for something, or I got to go get some money, or I got to go get something. And so there has to be some type of initiative and then some type of enrollment on what it is that's required of this family. There has to be that powerful requirement, not just like it's not an option. I don't care. Give me an hour and we'll work on it every Sunday at 4:00 before dinner. But as a family, we're going to do this. We're going to talk about what's in the way, what's blocking our love, the resentments, the past, the busyness. We're going to talk about what's blocking it. We're going to confront each other. We're going to talk until there's no more talking. We're going to work it out. We're not going to be right. We're going to be humble. And then we're going to get calm and available with each other. And we're going to get there. And it's a leadership requirement. And if you're not doing it, or you're not there and it ain't working, then I would say it's somewhere in your calmness. It's somewhere in your program that you're not powerful enough to do it. And then that just means there's more work on you before you can do it. That's all. And then when you get there and you experience it and you see that you can take people there and you can go, hey, I had to, and it can't be like, it can't be off-putting, I think, or it can't be, you got to be very sneaky with this, to be honest. You got to be very sneaky. You can't just open up and tell everyone you're talking about love. I think you got to start with the blockages. You see? So I can't just put two people in the room and tell them to love each other. Yeah. I got to say, why don't you guys talk about why you don't? Why don't you talk about resentments? Or why don't you work some of this stuff out? Why don't you give up being right? Why don't you open your heart to each other? There's a lot more work. That's why I said it's been 10 years and I just kind of got to this place that it was about love. But there was all this other work before I could even see love. I couldn't even see love because I never experienced it because there was too much stuff in the way. And then I was trying to take people there, but I wasn't because I didn't know about it. And now that I finally know about it, you got to be very delicate with it because you tell people you want them to love each other, they'll run.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? That's how sick we are. That's how, like Bob Forrest said. He said, we're sick. This is what he means. We're about everything but love. Truthfully. Ultimately, I've never seen anything that perverse.
Yeah.
So, you know, I would say there's got to be a path. And this is what we around me, me and everyone around me is about. You know?
I do. Thanks, Art.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Who's next? We welcome any thoughts, any shares, any questions. We'd
See, it's
love-
a hard topic because generally people aren't going to admit they don't love each other because they may be stuck with each other and they don't want to say that. They're outraged that they could, you know, be together for this long and not love each other. And so they're not going to admit it.
So,
You know, it takes something.
sorry, I'm not great at using the
Hi,
raise your
Sherry.
hand button yet. So,
Yep, go ahead.
sorry about that. So, I mean, is there a place when you kind of do, well, like if you know that there are blockers, right? And you're trying to like peel back the onion and kind of like peel it back a little bit and go, wait, check yourself. Where's your heart at, right? Is that the little trigger place, or what's your trigger thing that gets somebody to stop and then figure out what your blockers are?
Okay, well, first, you have to understand open or closed heart. Now, understand when you feel as a human being truthfully ready to receive love. You know, when you and your husband get in a fight and then somebody wants to talk too early and then you're not ready to talk, right? You know that kind of experience? That's closed heart. I'm not done being right now. I am in my head and I am working out how wrong you are right now. And I got a long list to do and it's going to be a while.
Right.
And I'd rather sit in my room and think about how wrong you are for some more time.
Right.
Okay, that's closed heart. Now, I need to get her back on there. I can't.
Everybody's laughing. I can put her on spotlight, but
Yeah.
unless she's talking.
Yeah, I can't. Okay, that's good. So you need to understand, first of all, there's an understanding that you want this. Then second, you kind of get it figured out. How much time in your day is your heart unavailable for love? If you're thinking about work, if you're thinking about your day, if you're thinking about the past, or if you're thinking about the future, have you ever had the experience of crying because you love somebody? You see, you don't go to work and find any love. Why? Because you're thinking about work. That's a closed heart. That's not might not be all the way closed, but it's unavailable. So you're not going to see beauty at work. You're not going to look at somebody's eyes and say, I love you. You're not, because you're too goddamn busy being somebody. So it's unavailable there. Now you get home and you do the dishes and somebody isn't doing the dishes and they didn't get the dishes done. Conditions aren't there for love again. And then they didn't pick up their laundry and nobody did what you asked them to do. And you're angry. So you're up in your head thinking about how wrong everybody is. Again, conditions aren't there. So now you got to figure all this out even before the conditions show up. You see, there's only when I have the experience of love, the world is right. The world is right. Everything is right. When my heart is closed, the world is wrong. So now you have to start doing the work, because you have to look into how much of your day is the world wrong. How much of the day are you judging everyone? How much of the day are you busy? How much of the day are you thinking about tomorrow? All those conditions make it so you can't find love. So there has to be a practice. And then with that practice, there has to be a game. There has to be something that we sit and do together, that we can find it again. And when I say sit and do something together, I mean do nothing together. You know, we have to have these times that we can be available, but we have to work at work. You have to work on being available. When you're working, you have to be present and aware of your work. It's a constant practice of awareness to get to the point where you can stay calm all the time and then start getting these blockers out of the way. But it is massive. I am telling you, the work I've done in this house, 5 months, the work that we've done, the work that everyone's done here with each other, talking to each other, working things out, it is massive. It's a full-time job for us just to get through a day without hatred. Massive full-time job. And if there's 1 ounce of hatred in the house, it contaminates the water. All of our water. So now we can't drink. With 1 ounce of hatred, with 1 ounce of criticism, with 1 ounce of lies, the water is contaminated. And you see, the conditions are no longer optimal for love. We have to work it out. And all that has to be investigated and worked out. And I mean, I don't mean to dump a lot here. But it's massive. It's a lot more than people think. You see? But it starts with yourself and this presence practice and just being available and open. You know? Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. What's next?
Look at the cat just sitting there. Yeah. She looks like a crazy cat lady, though.
I do. These are my 2 new kitties.
Harriet season.
They're 2 new kittens. They're 5 months old. Simba and Nala. I got them for my other cat, Autumn, so she would have a friend. I didn't.
You know, another thing that I see happening here that reverses the optimal conditions for love is that we put me back on there. Is I see this type of humor that's playful, but I don't know what you call it. It's a constant, light, satirical human or humor about each other. And it kind of says here, it's funny and I'm making a joke of it and I'm making light at it. But truly, if I got angry or drunk or something, I would tell you why you're a piece of shit. And it's this, we do it amongst each other. I do it, everyone does it. And it's this like, we're all guilty of it, but it doesn't create the optimal condition for love. It creates the opposite. It's a energy that I see here where everybody makes fun and it is lighthearted and it's not evil and it is funny, but it's just not the optimal condition for love. And it's a criticizing humor. It's a pointing out of somebody else's bad behavior in a joking manner. And it's constant and it's massive and it happens most of the time here. And it's gossipy, it's whatever it is. And it doesn't create the optimal conditions for love. So it's a slight deterrent. And I don't know if that's going on between the people in your families, but it goes on here. And I bet it goes on between brothers and sisters, and it goes on between fathers and mothers, and even mothers and daughters and mothers. And it has to be stopped sometimes because you have to set the intention for the day. And part of it has to be calmness and availability. It's like a substitute for loving each other. It's like, hey, I love you, but I can't, I'm too cool to tell you. So let me tell you that you're a piece of shit. And it's kind of the way they make love here. You know, they only do it with the people they like, and they only do it with the people that they're not angry at. So it's kind of a way that it's a substitute for loving each other. And it's okay. It's just not what we're talking about. And it deters from what we're talking about. So I see that going on a lot in my studies here of love. now our cats have made their way down here.
All right. Who's next?
I mean, it's pretty crystal clear. It always does. It's always funny to me that families here, and I've heard tons of families come to me and tell me that that unconditional, they know emphatically that unconditional love is the cure for addiction, and that's what their family member would need. But I never hear anyone ever. And then when I ask them if they love their family member unconditionally, they always tell me emphatically yes. And it really negates the argument. Well, then why is your family member loaded if you love them unconditionally? And so I can't even get, but no one's ever come on to me and came to me and said, hey, Art, I hear that the answer to addiction is love, and I want to be the answer for my addict. Because they're busy doing something else called enabling or something called anger, and then they're calling that love, and they're wondering why. But they all know that love is the answer. They just want me to give it to them or something. Or they want them to go to a place where it can be given. So I don't, but I never hear anyone ever admit to me that they don't know how to love. I've never seen it. I've never heard it. I've never heard another person say it. Nobody ever goes, I don't care about other humans right now. I'm too selfish. I don't love anyone. I'm only thinking of my anger. And I don't have the experience love, and I haven't had it in years. I generally never hear that. And so then you got to trick people into trying to get them to do something, I guess. I don't know. People do admit to having the experience anger all day, though. That one's easy. So even knowing all this information, I still get the experience love very rare. It's still just something that you have to create and try to get the conditions proper and do the work all day to get there, so that maybe at 8 o'clock at night, we can all sit down and get a little, just a taste. Getting the experience love's like getting the crab meat out of the thing. A lot of work for a little piece of meat, you know. That's what it is. It's like eating clams or something. There's all this other work to do before you can eat clams or crab. What else is hard?
Pistachios.
Walnuts, pistachios. Yeah, they're all real good stuff, but there's a lot of work to do before you get at it. Yeah, you want a Hot Pocket, though, you can just throw that bitch in the microwave. You know? With the good food, all takes work. 4 minutes for it to cool off. Yeah, oh, God. Yeah. We don't have to talk about this topic. If you have other questions, please. If you're new, anything, open it up and just.
Yeah, let's go, guys. What questions do you have? Anything? This is your opportunity. Struggling with anything, now's the time to get on the court. If you just have some basic questions, that's cool too.
Kristen Lindstrom has a question, Travis says.
Great. Hey, Kristen, let's get you unmuted. I'm trying to unmute. Yeah. Can you? There we go. Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Angie. Hi, Art.
Hi.
Art, thank you. I think you're absolutely right. I think the way you describe it absolutely brings me to tears. I just wanted to know what you think about the aspect of really listening to someone, because to me, that's kind of, that's when I find myself really loving, when someone is interested in really listening to me, and they do it sort of with an open heart. There's no outcome to it. It's just a listening. One of the people that I worked with would come and talk to me, and it was my boss, and he would just listen to me. And when he left the room, I felt huge love for him, that he honored me to just listen to me, and there wasn't any judgment. And I thought it's huge. It's huge.
I would love to answer that. I'm a terrible listener, all the way around. But I tell you what, I'm really, really good at hearing and listening to the truth. When I hear the truth, I can't stop listening. And when I don't hear the truth, I can't listen. And part of that is that so my point is, I think as human beings, if we took it on that when we're not being listened to, there's a possibility that we're not being the truth, that we're falsely motivated in our speech, that we don't want what we say we want, that we are maybe playing a victim to life, things like that. And for me, I don't listen to much that a kid comes early on in our program and starts talking, because it's never the truth. Generally, it's not. It's some bullshit. And I'm terrible at listening to bullshit. So the point is, you know, I don't know about, I think that human beings listen to truth. And I think we're magnetized by it. And when we hear it, we can't stop. And when we hear one thing that we don't find truthful, we start tuning it out and we don't listen. And I think that's it. And I think if two people can get present with each other and tell the truth, then we can listen to each other all day. But I think there's got to be some accountability in that. And that's what I find is the work here, is when somebody's talking and they're saying one thing, but their actions did another thing yesterday, or they're saying one thing and their actions are doing, it's hard not to stop them and say, wait, you know, you said this, but you're doing this. And that's what eventually ends up happening in this group, is that when somebody speaks in this group and they're not telling the truth, there is no love. And in fact, there's more eye rolls and more sarcasm, and people know when they're not hearing it. And so if I want to be listened to, I have to get closer to the bone of truth. You see? And if you want, and then a lot of people want to be listened to, but they don't want to tell the truth. And I'm not saying that's you. I'm saying that boss probably listened to you because you found a way to be truthful with him. You found a way to be honest and say whatever it is that you truly felt and you truly wanted. And that's magnetizing. So I think it's on the talker, not on the listener. And I never really like that thing where people say they aren't listened to and they need to be listened to. And I say, well, if you aren't listened to, then do something else. You know, I never I always hold a human being accountable for their entire world. So
what do you mean their entire world?
I mean their entire relationship world, the entire showing up of their relationships. So if somebody comes to me, anyone in this world came to me and they gave me a story about how they weren't listened to, then I would just tell them that what they're saying sucks. Wow. And pretty bluntly. And I would say, you need to find more. And that doesn't mean that I don't want to help you get listened to. I do. But you got to find out how to be more truthful. And you got to find more power in what you're saying. You know, just like somebody singing, I always find it hard to believe those people could make it like on those tryouts for American Idol and suck that bad and have nobody in their life tell them the truth. And you just wonder, like, nobody must love that person. And I think to love somebody, sometimes you have to help them get closer to their own truth because they're still busy lying to themselves. And then once you can do that, there's more honesty that shows up and there's better possibility. Go ahead, I can't. Back on Kristen. Why did we go off her?
Because she's not talking.
Okay, first
Oh.
day, no, Travis did it. He's first day on the job.
I'm listening.
Yeah,
Travis can't operate it.
yeah,
Travis is not doing anything.
he did.
No,
Yeah, he did. He's operating it right now. He's moving the screens around.
Oh,
Okay, we got her. So Kristen, I think listening, like a lot of parents listen to their kids tell bullshit.
Yeah.
And part of the problem is when we listen to people tell bullshit and then we don't call them on it, they disrespect us more and more. And now we just end up being this doormat to listen. And they want us to listen to their victimhood or listen to how bad they got it. And if we don't listen to how bad they got it and listen to why they're a victim, they stop talking to us. And so now you eventually get it with the drug addict. Well, all they'll do is they'll let you listen. But when you try to hold an ounce of accountability, now they get indignant. Now they lack humility. Now they tell you to screw off. And so, it's a very dicey thing, listening. You see? It's not always just a blanket, just like those people listen to their family members sing. Maybe they sat there and lied and smiled, told them they were good. But that didn't do anything for them. It didn't help them get any better, and it made an embarrassment of them. So I don't know. I'm a terrible listener because I rarely hear the truth because I work with a lot of people in early recovery. So, but as they grow and as they're here longer, I listen more to the things they say because the things they say have more truth and it becomes easier. And I find myself listening a lot more in this house than I used to listen at the big house because the big house was all kids really early on and they were all full of shit. So the kids here are starting to get substance to what they say and it's starting to mean something. So I got to listen. So that's what I have to say about listening.
Thank you.
thank you, Kristen. I found it really cute that Kristen had her cat. Art Earl was on the back of you.
I know.
I've got mine. It's like the cat night.
I don't think it's cute. It's seeming kind of weird at this point. It's freaking me out.
Something's going on.
Yeah.
All right, we've got about 10 minutes left, so we've got time for some more thoughts, questions on any topic. And Angela Badalucco, let's get you unmuted.
Angie, will you please pin her too?
There it is.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Do you have a way of recommending to the rest of the family that we open our hearts and be honest with one another without it causing a big argument?
I think that you have to decide what it is you want. And once you decide what you want, you have to go until you get it. And every time you try to enroll human beings in whatever it is that you're trying to enroll, I always said in my life, I want to be the guy in my life that holds the remote in the room. I always thought the guy that holds the remote when a lot of people were watching TV, I want to be that guy because I want to watch what I want to watch. But I don't want to be the guy that is watching what he wants to watch and everybody else is miserable. So now I want my cake and eat too. I want to be the guy that gets to watch what he gets to watch and have everybody else enjoying watching it too. So what it takes is enrollment and excitement. So you got to get them excited about what you're excited about. And in each one of these instances, when you find that you're not getting there and you don't have the power to enroll, it always goes back to your personal practice. It always goes back to what you do to be calm, what you do to get the anger and resentment out of the way, what you do to do all this work. And by the way, this always goes back to one thing: intentional presence. That's the practice all day, every day, in all of your work, intentionally being present with the moment that's facing you. Always, every day, leaving your mind and putting it down. Love is not in our mind. Love is outside of our mind. It doesn't exist in our mind. So you put love is thinking is the mind. In the mind, there's thinking. And there's thinking the other person is wrong, and there's thinking they should be different. But when love shows up, the thinking is gone. So now, how do you try to enroll and not give up and continue with the power and continue with your practice until they follow? Until they see that the changes have been made with you and your anger's out of the way and everything's out of the way. And so whenever you want to recommend other people to do something, you better make damn sure you don't have any chinks in your armor, because they'll find the holes in your armor and they won't follow. You know, just like a good boss. When a good boss tells you to do something, when a bad boss tells you what to do, you think of all their defective behaviors. A good boss tells you what to do, and they don't have any defective behaviors to think of. So you just do it. But when a bad boss tells you what to do, and they don't behave properly, you come up with all the justifications not to do it. And you know you don't want to follow this guy. And it's not because of anything else other than all their bad behavior. And so it's a restoration. You know, it's a restoration of integrity and power, and really looking at the things that you do to have people not follow you. The behaviors that you do that somebody, your kid says you're the problem, listen. I mean, not listen like it's true, but listen like a possibility that there's maybe something he sees that you could change a bit. Don't get on it a big because they're drug addicts, or they're getting high if they're currently getting high. But, you know, if there's a conversation and they mention some things to look at, you got to look at them, because that's what they're going to use to not do what you ask. If you and your husband fight and you tell him you want him to do this, and then ask him, why don't I have enough credit for you to do this for me? What's wrong? What do I got to do? You know? So you see, it's enrollment, really. It's exactly what Steve and Bertie were talking about. It's leadership, it's enrollment, it's power, but it comes through your own private practice, your own power. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got one more out there.
Just petting her cat. That's like she looks like Dr. Evil or whatever. She's a lot prettier, Dr. Evil, but still. Yeah, she's like plotting to take over the world, petting her cat. Yeah.
He's loving it. Jean, did you have a question?
It was
No. Okay.
remember that show? where
Darn, that made me excited.
they turn around in the chairs. What's that show where they turn around? Huh? The Voice. There was CeeLo Green on there.
Yeah.
And he used to pet his cat on the show.
Yeah.
So CeeLo Green was sitting there petting his cat. And then this dude comes up on the stage to sing, and he goes, "Hey," he goes to the guy, "Well, what do you do when you're not singing?" And the guy goes, "I'm a sandwich artist. I work at Subway." And CeeLo Green, without missing a beat, goes, "Me and you should hook up, man. I love sandwiches." He just said it, he's all big. He goes, "I love sandwiches."
Oh, Roger. I see, Roger, you've got your No Bullshit Hugs t-shirt too. Let's get you unmuted. You raised your hand, right? This time it wasn't a mistake. It looks like. It looked very intentional.
There we go.
Hi, Roger.
Hi. So, Dharma Dave was talking about feeling your anger. Is that a way of getting to your calmness versus sitting with your anger and your emotions?
I don't think there's a difference. Now, I don't think sitting with anger and sitting with calmness, there's a difference.
He was talking about expressing anger, not holding it in.
No, I'm talking about, like, let's say you're angry and you can see the anger, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's say you're calm and you can see the calm.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference?
None.
There is no difference.
Right. You're just aware of it.
It's just both of the things, you're not in it. Both of them, you're not it. So sitting with anger is actually calmness.
But what about expressing the anger that he was talking about?
Yeah, I don't, I talk to Dave every week and I have to go deeper with Dave. I don't always know, when he says constructive anger,
right.
I haven't seen that yet in my life. So I have to see an example of what that is. I can honestly tell you, I don't know what he means. I've seen anger as only destructive. So I'm trying to find out what constructive anger. I actually asked him a question of him Monday. I said, and we didn't get to the answer, but I don't know. I don't know how you be angry and have that work for you. I don't know. All I know is how, when I can see anger in me and can sit from a place of looking at it, then I can remain calm. I you know what I mean? But when I don't see anger, it just takes me over. And I get angry. So yeah, I would hook you up with Dave and let him talk to you about that. I actually grabbed a book today that he recommended, and maybe I'll have something for you if you want to read it. So I don't know. I'm looking because I like it. If I could find a way that anger could be constructive, I want to definitely find that. You know what I mean? Because I like to get angry. So
yeah, I think you'd be really good at it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking in the book trying to find that part where I could be angry and have it work for me. So yeah, well, I'll tell you if I do. But
yeah, the book he's talking about, Roger, yeah, he got it on Audible, Emotional Intelligence.
Yeah.
Oh, he does have an Audible? Perfect.
Yes.
Everything's an Audible. You don't read no more. You're out.
No, I know. I don't. No.
Take you a week to read a book. Take you 8 hours to listen to it. So I listened to it 3 times in a week. Yeah, I don't know, Roger. I think I sit with all of it, and then I see it come, and then sometimes I attach to it and I become it. And then sometimes I'm able to remain calm and just be calm and then sit with it or look at it. Sometimes I can look at anger and I don't become angry. Sometimes I look at worry and I don't become worried. Sometimes I look at fear and it's just something to look at. Sometimes I look at anxiety and then I don't become anxious. But then sometimes I become anxious and worried and scared. So, but I don't think there's a difference between looking at calmness, sitting with calmness, and sitting with anger. I think that's the same exact thing.
No, I understand that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. All right, it's time to wrap up. Let me just
both just you sitting there.
What's that?
It's both just you looking at something. Anyways, yeah.
The one thing that I did want to mention to everybody, if you're not on my text reminder list, meaning you get a text every week reminding you of Solution Group, letting you know of changes, special guests, all that. If you're not already on that list, you can shoot me a message and just say, give me your number and say, please add me to the reminder list. We don't text you junk or anything. We just text out reminders. So the link's handy for you and you know of any changes. So you can reach out to me via text, via Facebook, email, whatever, however you can reach me, and I'll add you.
So, Andrew, I do want to talk a second about, there's been some advancements here and some people have kind of moved and are getting ready to move on and have been sober for 4 or 5 months and are doing really well. And there's been people that are sober longer than that too. And what we've got a shop here now, and we've got pretty much every piece of equipment imaginable that one can imagine. And we got people that know how to do just about everything here. And so we are asking if there's any battlefield families that need work done, yard cleanups, painting, deck removals or any kind of breakdowns of an area, or demolitions, or any kind of cleanups in the house, or house cleaning, any kind of that kind of stuff, please go ahead and contact Ange, and then she'll get a hold of me. We'll come out and we'll do the job for you. And I'm telling you, I got people with really good work ethic, and we will stay until it's done right, and we will learn to serve our customers as best as we can. So we are starting to do that, and the kids are ready to go out, and we don't want to, they can't just spend all their time sitting around trying to love all day. They gotta do something, So yeah, I want to make sure, please call us with any, trees to get taken out of your yard, cut downs. I have a dump truck, but I'm buying a new one. So we'll have a dump truck to do dump runs, or beauty bark, or gravel, anything you need. So give us a call.
Awesome.
We'll take care of you.
That's awesome.
And I'll oversee the job for the time being. So you'll deal with me, and then,
and Art would come out and do the bid, and then schedule it. Yep. Yeah. Sounds
what
great.
we did when we first got sober. So we're in a repetitive, I'm in a pattern. It's what I did when I first got here, and I was living in the house originally. Went out every morning, got into my truck, took the truck out, and we did a lot of work for a lot of people, and we loved it. And that's how it started. So first 7 months of our sobriety. So I like to give people here the same opportunity to do what I did.
Beautiful. And I know Cam is looking to purchase a car. So if anybody out there is selling any good vehicles, reach out, and I can connect you guys, and maybe it'll be a good fit. If he's looking to purchase a car. He's just hit 90 days.
Yeah.
So he's one of those workers, and if you've got something available that's good, let us know. Maybe it'll work for him. All right.
You ready to close up?
Yeah, we're ready.
So I just want to kind of hit a few bullet points, and I want to employ people. And the reason of this whole talk is that it starts with each person. If you want to go to this place, well, one thing that you're going to have to do is meet all the requirements. Can you get your resentments out of the way? Can you get to a place of calmness? Have you been working in intentional presence practice? Are you present? Are you available? Are you off your phone? Are you dealing with your anger? Are you actually talking out conversations and being responsible for your relationships and working on the things you need to go with the family? Or are you talking about the family behind their back, or complaining about people? Well, if you're doing that, you don't even meet the requirements. You still got to get to a place where you can be responsible for what it is that you feel. Are you blaming and justifying? And you got to get all that stuff out of the way before you can meet the conditions that are optimal for love. And one thing that I would say is that if you see that you don't love and can admit that most of the time you're not experiencing love, you're experiencing anger and frustration and disappointment and hatred and contempt and all these other things that have nothing to do with love. Well, then you have to see that to experience love, none of those things can contaminate the water. None of them. And just an ounce or a drop of any of them contaminate the water. And so, yeah, you might get it on your favorite television show. But if you're in your mind and you're in judgment of your family members and you thinking they all need to be better than they are, and you thinking they're the ones that are the problem in the family and they're bringing the family down, you're never going to get that. So it requires leadership, and leadership requires a practice. It requires you meeting these optimal requirements to get to this place called love, where you and another person or you and a group of people can actually drink the water of truth and feel love and feel the experience. We get it very rare here, but when we get it, it's so good that you have to come back for more. So we might get it once out of every 3 groups here, but at least we get a taste. And it's always these same things. It's always complete presence, complete calmness, meeting complete truth. And everything else is out of the way. The past, the future, the anger, the resentments, it all goes away. And it's just this beautiful experience when we get to have it. So I hope I taught the people here how we get to where we get. And I hope you guys see it. I hope you can see why the work that you're doing as individuals is so important if you want to meet these optimal requirements to join us in this place. And that now you can see why when somebody's not doing this work, we don't want them here. You can see why, because it makes it impossible. You know, and early drug use makes it hard when they're lying about it or when they can't keep their eyes open. It's impossible for us to be in a room with people that can't keep their eyes open and nodding off. You can't love that. You can't make it. It's impossible when somebody's lying, because now we're all got this big elephant in the room because we're being lied to, and there's no way to get there. So if you want to learn more about this, that's what we're doing, and you know, that's what we're working on here, and I'm willing to admit it. And that's what I want out of life, and that's what I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing. I'm done trying to hide that I want something else. I want more of that. I want more crab meat. So, anyways, once again, thank you, everyone. See you all next week.
Beautiful. See y'all next week. Good night, everybody. I wish I could unmute everybody while everybody's leaving. It doesn't let me do that anymore. But good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night. Yes, you can unmute yourselves.
Good night.
Good night. Good night. Oh, yay. That's so much better. Yes.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yes.
Thank
That was
you.
awesome.
Good
Good to see you, Roger.
Yay. Yes.
Bye, Steve.
Thank you, Angie. Thank you, Art.
Well, Becky, Bertie.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Bye, you guys.
That's a way better sign off. Good night.